Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting back to the Edwardian era. I was just browsing the internet when I found this amazing dress and I immediately fell in love with it. And I knew right away that I had to try sew it. This dress already represents the late Edwardian era, dated around 1908. This era marked a gradual transition from S-shaped silhouette to a narrow silhouette and Empire Princess line dresses. At first sight, the dress might look like a difficult project, and I think it's special because of unusual pattern, but it's actually a basic shape with added tags at the shoulders and extra fastening part at the front. So I hope you will enjoy this video. This Edwardian ensemble is consists of blouse, skirt and bodice, and I started with making the blouse. It's not very clear from illustration what exactly the blouse looks like, including the sleeve. So I browsed the internet and I finally decided on the blouse with a flat collar, 3 tags at shoulders and a tunnel for tightening at waist. I tried to use a pattern for the ordinary blouse, which you could still wear today, and transform it into the Edwardian blouse. I used the pattern from my mother's magazine Buddha, which she had been collecting for years, and I then gladly started using it when I was learning to sew. This magazine surely knows all European women who love sewing. So then I tried to adjust the pattern to form as close as possible to an Edwardian blouse. The pattern is consists of 1 back part, 2 front parts, sleeves and collar. I did not make darts on the front part because shaping the area around the breast with using the darts is not typical for this time because women still wore corsets and natural shape of the breast was not visible. When I was redrawing the pattern lines, I did not draw them and then I aligned the line on the side. I further widened the pattern on the sides by 5 centimeters. I laid the line diagonally from the underarm point to the bottom hem of the blouse. The last change in the pattern was addition of 3 centimeters to the shoulder line so that I could create 3 tags in the place of the shoulders. And I left the rest of the pattern unchanged. I laid down all pattern pieces on the fabric following the straight grain, and I gradually cut out all pieces. Buddha patterns don't include the seam allowances, so if you will use the same pattern as me, you will need to add 1.5 centimeters around the pattern using the ruler. Don't forget, do not add seam allowances on the seam that is placed on the floor of the fabric. In our case, it will be a back piece. Then I started the sewing process. I sewed all pieces together. I made tags at shoulders and front fastening. A very complicated part, which I was not looking forward to much, was the making the collar with the piping. The process of making the collar was quite complicated, so I will try to describe it to you. I measured the neck edges circumference. You will need this figure to create the collar pattern, and I put a link with instruction in the video caption. I probably wouldn't describe it to you very well. I create a line 2 centimeters from the bottom of the collar pattern and then I cut the bottom part of the collar along the line. I laid down upper collar pattern piece on the white cotton fabric, I cut it out, and then I laid down lower collar pattern piece on the black cotton fabric, and once again I cut it out. According to illustration, the lower black color piece is lined with a piping. Well, I think that it is piping. So I cut out 2 strips of the silk taffeta. You do not have to follow the cross grain, that allows it more flexibility and stretch around corners and curves. You won't need that on the collar. Then I place the cord in the middle of the tape strip on the wrong side of the fabric and I folded the tape over the cord. Then I pin in place with the both edges of the tape match up. I attach the zipper foot to my sewing machine and I place the cord as close to the needle as possible. Then I sew it slowly, making sure to keep an even line close to the cord. I cut out notches on the seam allowances of the piping and then I made running stitches following the marked line on the lower black collar so that the stitches can be seen from both sides. This step helped me to know exactly where to attach the piping. On the right side of top of the lower collar, I pinned the piping facing inwards, matching the raw edges, and then I sew it with zipper foot. To sew the piping in the seam, I pinned the second piece of the lower collar with the right sides down and raw edges matching. Once again, with zipper foot, I sew it along as close to the piping cord as possible. Then I turn the seam to the right side, give it a press, and there is your beautiful pipe seam. Then I repeated the same procedure and I made pipe seam between lower black collar part and the upper white collar part. I also used the same technique to create the cuffs. And in the last step, I sew the buttonholes on the sewing machine and then I sew on the buttons.
I can't see anything. I mean, there is so many patterns on such small piece of paper. I don't understand it.
Well, now we are going to focus on the skirt. According to illustration, it looks like the skirt has no dividing seams, so I chose this ordinary pattern from the border. I cut out all pieces of red cotton linen and a strip linen for the lining, and then I started the seaming process. To make the seam nice even from the wrong side, I made a flat felt seam on the both sides of the seam. I always struggle a bit with details like a closure. I didn't know how to do it properly for a long time, and in the end I was inspired by this closure from the year 1908. Then I added some hooks and eyes and I made waistband. One closure is traditionally at the waist and the other is at the center bottom of the front. Here I use 4 lovely buttons according to illustration. And tada! The skirt was done! Because I'm a little lazy, I used a blouse pattern and I added the decorative thing for fastening. I honestly have no idea what is it called, so for me it is just thing. Then I made a mock-up to alter the sewing pattern at my will until I was happy with it. Once again, I laid down all pattern pieces on the fabric following the straight grain, and I gradually cut out all pieces. On the front part of the eye, and again I don't know exactly what to call it because the bodice is very atypical. Well, there is an embroidery on the front part of the eye. I create a template from the paper and then I use a pen to redraw it on the fabric, and I save it with the black thread on the sewing machine. After that, I made the tags at the shoulders, and I sew all pieces together, and around the front opening I make pipe seam. Lower part of the bodice opening is finished with a placket. I cut out the placket piece, and with the right sides together I stitch the placket to the front opening edges. Then I sew hooks and eyes on the placket. On the decorative thing I sew on the black buttons, and on my sewing machine I sew the buttonholes. So that the bodice holds better around my waist and does not move to the place where I do not want, I create a small tunnel for a tightening at waist. The last step was to making a belt of the black velvet. These dresses are inspired by the Japanese kimono, which emphasizes this particular belt. At this time, the influences of Japanese fashion were very fashionable and popular. And that's all. Sewing this Edwardian ensemble was a bit improvisation, but I'm happy with how the final dress looks. Well, this type of dress is suitable for a really slim figure, and I think that the style is not very suitable for my specially generously shaped figure. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye!